On the air, on your phone, and online, it's classic hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s on 1240 The Brew. 1240 KOKL, Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
SJ, welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Shche Stongo, Gary Fife, Jehojeff Gedos, Mvskoke Radio, Mvskoke. So welcome to our program this week. Thanks for tuning us in here on 1240 The Brew. We're going to try round two of the story we tried to bring you last week on Rex's chicken. Overcome the technical difficulties of being an old guy and forgetting things, and actually brought in the right CD this time. So we'll travel up to Bixby and get an idea of the new economic enterprise by the Mvskoke Nation Business Enterprise folks, and how to diversify the tribal economic portfolio. In the second half, we just had our people come back from D.C., Disneyland on the Potomac, and we're going to talk to them about their trip, about the Mvskoke Etvlwv, the Mvskoke presentation at the National Museum of the American Indians, plus their impressions of what is essentially the most powerful city on earth. So we'll be talking to them in the second half of our program. But first of all, let's take a drive up to Bixby and check out Rex's Chicken.
My name is Woody Anderson. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Mvskoke Nation Business Enterprise.
Okay, now this chicken franchise is one of the ways that the tribe is diversifying, right?
That's correct.
And why did you choose this food establishment and chicken?
Well, this goes back about 4 years ago, and a lot of us, probably a little bit older, remember the Rex's franchise. The franchise itself had the original family, I guess most of them maybe passed away, and so a gentleman by the name of David Rukakis had taken the brand, and through one of our own tribal members had brought the opportunity to us. But one of the first things that we did before we ever got involved was that we did a couple of taste testings with our own people within our own organization, and then we catered an event for one of our previous chiefs and took some comments from people just to see what they thought of the food. What we were looking at was a way to control some of the opportunities to do business, and in particular maybe in our travel plazas, to add some value to that. And when we saw this opportunity, we thought that chicken, everybody likes to eat chicken. It's one of those products that everybody eats. So we made a decision that we wanted to get a franchise with this, and that's kind of how it got started. So,
with all of the choices you could have made, what is it that attracted you to fried chicken? I mean, you've got burgers all over the place and tacos and everything else. Why chicken?
Well, I think the deal is that with this chicken, especially this here, the Rex's chicken, what we liked, it was to us very unique, and to decide that we wanted to do chicken instead of a hamburger or things like that, I think it just came down that we, through some of the research that you find a lot of people eat chicken, so we felt like that was a great opportunity to cash in on that. This was again one of those opportunities. There was only one store at that time, and so we ended up taking the franchise, and that's why we wanted to go and move forward with it. So.
The region seems to love fried chicken. Right. Does that play into it?
Oh yeah. It not only the thing about the Rex is what we found since we opened up the store. There's a very large following of people that remembers the Rexes at different times up in this area. So we've had so many people that when you look on our Facebook that have wondering when we're coming here, coming there, Oklahoma City, different places. But people remember it, and so that I think that's been a big plus for us in bringing the crowds here.
Okay, now I guess in business they say location is everything.
Right.
You're here at let's call it 121st and Memorial in
Right.
Bixby. Was it busy enough for you? Could you get the trade?
Yeah, actually, what happened for us here was that we had spent probably a year looking for a location. We had 2 or 3 that seemed possible, but when this one became available, we just knew it was the right space. Some of the places when we were looking at things was easy accessibility to our location. We knew that Bixby was growing. There's a lot of growth around us here at 121st, and so what we've also experienced with this location is that we've had a lot of people that come in from a little bit everywhere to us here. So there's a lot of traffic. If you sit here long enough, you can see there's a lot of traffic come both in and out during the day. So
right, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, and you've got customers here. So does that encourage you to think, well, that walk-in trade will be there?
Oh yeah, and I think what you do when you look at our point of sale system, you can see the hours where our highest peaks of business are. Probably about around 3:30 or 4, you're going to start seeing then more and more people, kids getting out of school, families coming in, and then at nighttime. And so you will come in here at times, and there'll be a long line here for people to place an order. So.
Tell me about your menu. So you've got a lot of things, including some healthy items there, but I understand you've also got the old Indian favorite fry bread.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about it is, we've probably got one of the best jalapeno chicken. I was just talking to our manager today. Our jalapeno chicken's great. Our sides are great. We added okra. That was one of the things that when we were talking about this franchise was some of the things we knew that people love. We got some great okra, the mashed potatoes and gravy, the green beans. Everything that we have here is really good. I haven't found, and it's not just because we're part of this, I haven't found anything that I personally haven't liked. We've got some smoothies that are out of this world. Great tasting smoothies, and our cookie selection, just great cookie selection too. So everything that we've had here has been a lot of thought put into it. What we felt like the customers would like, and the kicker to that is that fry bread. And one of the difference between our fry bread and our traditional Indian fry bread, this one more where you'll see people putting honey on it, and it is really good. And at the end of a meal, and as a matter of fact, I just ate with a gentleman a little bit ago. He ate his before his meal, so it's a great piece to it. And that if you people here for some reason we forget it, they let us know that we left off the order, and they make sure they get it. So.
When you brought the idea to the Mvskoke Creek Nation, what was the reaction there? Were they enthused? Were they skeptical? People saying, well, you got restaurants that are dying off all the time.
Well, I think the thing with most people is that Creek Nation has never been afraid of exploring and going forward. If you look at us as a nation as a whole, we didn't know anything about gaming. Look at where we're at today. We're some of the premier casino people in the world. Our government, back when other people were running our government, we're running our own government. We're doing everything today that others were doing for us. The same thing with this opportunity is that, we've teamed with some good people that have been in the restaurant business, and so sharing those best practices with us so that we can be successful at it, and also then to help bring more franchises out there, because we also are an area developer for them. So that means that we can help develop franchises in other states and here in the state of Oklahoma, which we also get a percentage of. So it's a great opportunity for us and our folks, David Rukakis and his family. So.
What about your staff here? I noticed there are a couple of staff members that look like they were native.
Yes, they are.
How does that break down? Is there a percentage?
Well, yeah, there is some percentages there, and off my hand, I know we keep those handy. We've got, I think, probably with our staff, a lot of diversity that you'll find here within our group. We've got people of all races that work for us. I know that we've been trying for some time, making sure through all of our resources at the tribe to try to get more of our people with an interest in here. But we've also, one one of the key things that we've been really proud here is we've got a young group of people from Bixby that attend Bixby schools, young people that I would match with anybody. The staff here is really good. They're really good on quality, and greeting people, customer service, and that's been because of our manager that we have here, and making sure that we provide that, because that's, to me, the difference. A lot of times you want good food, but you also want to have good service. So that's important here. So,
tell me about that service. There have been examples in the past where managers and customers didn't get along, or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of training or something that you emphasize with your crew to make sure that everyone is welcome when they come in?
When everybody comes here, we make sure, and you'll watch it when a person comes in. Usually the person at the counter will greet them in here. If there's usually any issues with people, out here with food or anything, our staff know to go to our GM, and then she comes out and talks to them. And if there's something that we need to do to correct the issue, we make sure that that's corrected with them. So that it's like everything. Customers right here, they're the ones that keep these doors open. So we want to make sure they have a good experience here too. So
now in the process here of opening up, it's only been a short period,
right,
correct?
Right, that's correct. We opened up on September 16th. So.
And what did the sales tell you at this point? I know it's really early, but
what sales tell me is that we've done a lot more here than we ever expected here in this business. What we found is that the support for this brand, the support for the food, you can see within our point of sale that right now we get 28% return customers coming back. So it tells us that our food and hopefully the service is good. And so we've got, that kind of data to tell us, that hey, we're going to continue on. We've done, we've had as much as $10,000 days, and so that's a really great day. And so, you're going to level off at certain things. But the other thing that we've added now is that we've had our drive-through. It's been down until we was ready to go, so it is open. We're kind of doing a soft opening with it, but we already got customers coming here. So we also have the ability for people to order online at rexschicken.com. You can go online and order your food, tell us what time you're going to be here, and they'll have your food ready. So, any way that we can help them, they can either come in here, order online, or go through our drive-thru. So, being able to provide a good service to them, and in a timely manner. So,
are all of the things like supply, your chicken, whatever, is that all kind of pretty well nailed down for you?
Yeah, it is. Anytime you get into a franchise opportunity, those systems are in place. The ingredients and how you do things, the processes, and so that's been one of the good things here with us and the beautiful brands and everything is that we're able to come in and train our people in those processes, and then they know from there. So, but with we're also able to tweak those too as we see things that will better improve it. Then with the franchise owners, that we're able to sit down with them and say, hey, we think there's maybe a better way, or they may see a better way too. So
you mentioned this opportunity here as having some abilities to transfer into other franchises too. Do you see a growth factor there?
Yeah, actually, what happens is that we've already been contacted by several groups: Kansas, Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, here in Oklahoma, who have a very strong interest in our franchise. And so, the key for us was some of these were before we opened, and several of them have been after we've opened. But the key was to get this store open so they could see what our design, what our concept, what people's perception of the food, and how we were doing. So we've been very pleased with that because we have some folks up in Kansas who right now are expressing a strong interest. So I feel like within a period of time here, we're going to be able to announce we've got some folks out there. So,
you had any interest from any other tribal group?
I have one of our tribes here in Oklahoma. I won't name them because I don't want to put them on the spot, but we've had people reach out to us even before we had this, and so we've got some tribes, because we've attended, Rez out in Las Vegas about a year or two ago, passed out some information out there. So we're at the point here now that we'll start reaching back out to. There was about 3 tribes that had expressed some interest in their casinos, and some that had expressed just a single standing facility and everything. So.
Have there been any rough spots? I know that Operation Getting Up and Running is going to have a little bump and grind in the process. Yeah. What's been your challenges?
I think probably for us the biggest challenge so far has been more or less trying to get more people, that we need for staff. That was probably one of the bigger ones. The construction went fairly well through here, the renovations. I think it would probably be more just the building of the staff than anything. So, but that's starting to level off and everything. So, I guess probably out of all of that, that's probably the biggest thing. So,
well, that sounds like you got all the angles covered, and so far your plan is working.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is. I've been very proud of this opportunity, and we've been very proud that if people will come up and watch it in the afternoons and evenings, and if you'll watch it on the weekends, we've had a large crowd of people that comes in here. So it's very satisfying to watch people enjoy something that you put together and been dreaming about for several years to do. And so this came at the right time. We talk about the timing of everything. I think by being here where we're at, we got to design the type of building that we wanted. Everybody really likes it. We've been able to add the things, and then be in the location that we are. And so timing, I guess, is everything. So.
Has there been any reaction to this being a tribally owned and run business?
I think probably that people have watched the Creek Nation, seen the success of our casinos, and then see the type of facility here that I think that adds some credibility to what goes on. The Creek Nation name out there is very widely respected, and I think that they've watched the recent stuff that especially the recent stuff that the tribe has built, and then the quality of what we've done here, and that's the standard that we always want to set as Creek peoples, is set that level and set that bar and continue to raise that bar. So I think that always lends to itself when they see the tribe involved. So
tell you what, that's pretty much all the questions right now. Why don't we take that tour? Well, no, just walk through.
Yeah, this is of course there's our drive-through here. Glad to see this open. We've been able to train people and get them set up where we're ready to go and everything. So this should even increase our business here, because being able to have people, sometimes people don't want to have to get out of their vehicles, so being able to come through and get that drive, especially on a cold day like today and stuff. So. This is our kitchen that was designed and put in place for our operations and everything. So everything you see here is brand new. This isn't used stuff. It's all brand new, and so we get everything prepared in here. Our machines for our fry bread. We also, when you look, this is the process that they go through on our fry bread. She'll come up here and they'll get it prepared, and then she'll cut it, and then it's put inside this building there. Hi, Nancy. And so how long, Nancy, does it take from your process of what you're doing? We put it in here, and then it's ready to put into
90 minutes from beginning to end, from start to ready to serve.
Yeah. So that's the process on that fry bread, so they're having to be ahead of the game. But what time do we usually start in the morning doing it?
About 8:30, 8:45 in the morning to start bread out.
10:30?
Uh-huh.
So they get about a 2-hour head start on everything for it. And most of the food, what we try to have that is the way with our times is have those times down quickly, so that people, when they get their food, that the food's hot. Sometimes that's what we run into, is that people may be waiting, but hopefully whenever they get their food, when they get it, will always be hot and ready to go. So
let me ask you a couple of questions about the fry bread here. About how many pieces do you sell per day?
Hey, Angie, Angie, this is Gary 5. She's our GM, Gary. How many pieces of fry bread do we sell a day? What would you think? We've done probably 14 to 15,000 transactions. I'd say we've sold at least 14, 15,000 of fry bread.
That's not per day, of course.
No, that's what, since we opened on September 16th to this day, I'm guessing we've had probably around that 14, 15,000, because there's a fry bread that goes in every meal. So there's people that, so if we've had that many, well, it could be more than that if it's a transaction, because that could be, so it could be more than that, Gary. So, but at least probably 14, 15,000 of those fry breads. That's a lot. So.
Okay, well, let me ask you a couple of questions. What was your name again?
Angie Clement.
Okay, and what is your job here?
I'm the general manager.
You got to take care of everything. If something goes wrong, they come at you. If it goes right.
That's right.
What is it that you're trying to do with your production line here?
We're trying to make sure that we give quality product in an efficient manner and make sure it's very presentable and likable to the guests.
Things get pretty hectic around lunchtime?
Yes, it can get hectic, but we have a great production line, and we can get you in and out very quick.
Now, fry bread is not something you would find in a franchise restaurant generally until we got here. Did you find something unique about your store selling fry bread?
Yes, it is a unique product, and it does take care and planning because the yeast has to rise. So it is a unique, but we've found an efficient way to deliver a quality product that the customers enjoy.
Great, I'll let you get back to work. Now, some people say fry bread is best made by your mother or an Indian woman or something to that effect. Is that fit in?
Well, I think the difference is that if you look at our fry bread versus, I think, more of what with our traditional Indian taco stuff, there is a difference in that. So, this one here, and I've tried to make that point with others in the past, that, to me, it's best when you have a little honey on this one here. The other ones I like to have the beans and my lettuce and everything else on it, but this here, when you put that after you've had a good meal here, and to have that, it's just like it caps off the meal for you. So,
see, the fry bread you're making here is about the size of a large biscuit, is it?
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Yes.
You, I presume, had some thought go into the size of the portion here.
Well, that's done by the franchise. The Mvskoke, they're the ones that all have the processes set up for that. So we knew approximately what size and all the processes in place to get them done. So.
Do you have any surprised Indians saying, "Hey, that's not fry bread"?
Yeah, well, you get that every once in a while, but after they start eating it, I don't think they care what it is. I always try to tell them this isn't what you've expected, as some of our fried bread, but this here is like I said, when you put that honey with it after you've had some chicken and French fries or some other okra stuff, it is a great way to cap off that meal. So.
Okay, great. Is there anything in particular you'd like to point out while we're standing here looking at your kitchen?
Well, I think, we've had some compliments from different people on our kitchen. We take a lot of pride in the fact that, it's clean. They keep it up to a certain standard. We've got a lot of room in here. I know Angie, from where she come, a lot of times in some of the restaurants, they may not have enough room, so it's really crowded. So we've got a lot of space in here for our people to work and be able to utilize it. But, with Angie, they're always day-to-day trying to look at different ways to improve how they do their processes in here and everything. So.
One of the criticisms of many franchises is that it's fast food and it's like crank it out on a production line kind of thing. How does that affect you?
Well, that's where we're different at, and that's the reason why that sometimes people will come here and there's a long line. What we try to do is that you can go to some places and they've already got stuff laying in there, and yours might be sitting under a warming lamp and it might be just warm. What we try to do is when they're coming through, our guys have headsets on and they know when that order's coming through, so that when they're coming through that we can go ahead and have chicken going, things like that. Because what we want them to do is that they can be able to sit down, we'd be able to go out and take the food to them, which we deliver to their table, and that way that their food's hot and and taste good. So that's important to us because I've been at the same place where I've gone places, and when you eat a meal, sometimes that's okay, but here that's the difference because this is a more of fast casual because people come in, sit down, and in some cases we've had them wait, and we try to explain ahead of time that hey, this is backed up because we'll have a bunch of orders sitting here on our screen, and then people still in line trying to come in. So what we're wanting to do is then educate our folks that come in here, say, hey, your food's going to be hot when you come in here, but it may just take a little bit. Here's where. So we try to be in a sense be able to communicate with them because the worst thing you want to do is people get upset with you because you had to stand or wait. So, but we've had people that, like I said, we have a great base of people that they'll come in and they understand that I may have to wait a little bit, but the food's good. Most everybody, and it's not you're not 100% because that's just for any business, but most of the time we get a lot of compliments on our food. So
that sounds like kind of a real trick in timing then.
It is.
When the order is placed and then the food is almost cooked to order.
Right, it is, and that's what Angie brought from her 24 years of experience with her is what these guys have taken a look at and watching what goes on out here is trying to make sure that we have to look at we got long lines out here. How do we deal with that? We've got orders coming in here, so how do we make sure that we get them and get them out fast? So that's what she's worked on the process, and so right now there's not that long wait time. Sometimes you'll hit it, but then there's times where they've got those wait times down. So
okay, finally, what are your plans now? I know this is just opened up. It looks like it's been received very well. Where do you go from here?
Well, for us is working with Mr. Rakakis and building other franchise and working with other people to start franchises in other places. We've had a lot of interest, from people in wanting a franchise, and so that's where we see the next one. We're also looking at additional sites for us as MMB side, and so we'll evaluate that and see where those are possibly at. But I think some of the focus is showing the people what we have here and then trying to work out franchise opportunities for other people.
While you were answering there, one more question popped into my head. When you make your report to the Creek Nation, what do you tell them? You talk finance, you talk sales. What is it that's included?
Well, you talk both. With when we go to a committee meeting, we'll talk both of that. We'll let them know what we got going on here and all the financial issues with here. There are the reports that go along with it.
Okay. Finally, is there anything you'd care to add?
No, I think you covered everything, Gary. So, I think we've hit everything. We want to, we hope that we have other tribal members that have an interest in, wanting, because we have part-time positions here. Anyone looking for that? We've had students come out of our tribal college that are coming up here to work with us, and so there's employment opportunities here. And then just our general public, we want to invite you up here to eat with us and try to enjoy our food and stuff. So.
Okay, that moment of silence is brought to you by Mvskoke Media. That was the crew from Rex's Fried Chicken. This is the newest business enterprise from the Mvskoke Creek Nation. It's if you're interested, it's at 1982 South Memorial Drive in Bixby. You just head up Memorial to about 121st or so, and look on the west side of the road, and it's there. So you can check it out and have a good time. We have, let's see, a couple of things there. Enough of that. Anyway, chicken's not bad. Fry bread, I don't know. I had to get used to that. Okay, we're going to take a short pause here, and we're going to be back. Our reporter crew is back and ready to share their experiences in D.C. So we're going to sit here and watch our board operator frantically tear through his stuff there. Okay, we'll be right back with you here on Mvskoke Radio right after this.
When I was 11, I wanted to be just like my big brother. And some of my friends were already doing it. We got hooked fast. I just can't get enough. I'm Jacob, and I'm addicted to playing the drums.
There's lots of stuff that makes it cool to be Native. Doing meth isn't one of them. Find something better to do. Check out ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Who am I? Am I Native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
All right, welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on 1240 The Brew. It's beautiful, cloudy, cool. It's a cool and crisp morning here in Okmulgee, and your sidewalk superintendent report on the council house is it's there. Cloudy skies frames it wonderfully, and the fall harvest stuff is gone, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be putting up the Christmas stuff pretty soon, so we'll invite you down for that one. Okay, joining me here in the studio now are a couple of our reporters here, Kevin Barnett and Devaney Luxinger. You probably heard her voice on a couple of other little specials we had, and Kevin is now breaking the ice here with this program. So welcome, both of you. I'm glad you came in.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
All right, now the reason we got you down here is you just got back from a trip to Washington, D.C., Disneyland on the Potomac, as I call it, for the Mvskoke Etvlwv presentation there at the National Museum of the American Indian, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, first of all, had either of you ever been there or seen the place before?
I visited there in 2007, I think it was. It was right whenever Obama began campaigning for his presidency. But I think this trip was a little more meaningful for me because I went with my tribe. So
Yeah.
That was actually my first experience in DC, and it was pretty cool.
How was it cool? What was cool to you?
Well, you hear a lot in school and just around about the historical events that happened there, and I'm a huge nerd, so like I was all into the history of it, and actually being there and like standing on the ground where all this history took place was really moving.
Right. How about you, Kevin?
You know what? I think you and I spoke about it a little bit last week. That's the modern day Rome. You know, if we were living at 2,000 years ago, that's the we would have wanted to visit Rome. Washington, D.C., that's today's Rome, and walking there, you get a sense of just the power that and influence that comes out of that city. So.
Excuse me. Well, the city I sometimes call the most powerful city on earth.
Right.
Essentially, you've got some guy in the White House who essentially by pushing a button can start World War III.
Or tweeting.
God, yeah. I've only tweeted twice in my whole life. Shows you how old I am. But you were there with the delegation from our tribe there, and I don't know, how'd you feel about having them there in the nation's capital?
You know what? I lived away from Oklahoma for a lot of years, and I wasn't really raised around the tribe, so working with Mvskoke Media now, I mean, it's kind of like me coming home, and just getting to know my tribe, as an adult, and you know what? That trip up there, I felt that camaraderie. I felt that bond between all the different delegates, all the different people that went with the tribe. There was a bond, every morning, every afternoon at the museum, there was that common thread that we all shared, and that's our heritage, and it felt like a tribe to me. I mean, it felt like a group of people that, that we all shared that common, whatever it is that makes up a tribe.
For me, it was really powerful to see. There was a lot of school children that came, and being born in this district and like living in the jurisdiction my whole life, I kind of almost take the culture for granted. Like it's just everyone knows about the Creek Nation, obviously, it's right there. But seeing all these school children who had never seen, any Native culture and maybe not, and haven't even heard of Creek Nation, get to learn about it and speak with actual Creek Indians and Native Americans was really moving. It really made me appreciate what we have here.
Right, and I think it's easy to take that for granted, You were you were recording demonstrations there at the National Museum of the American Indian, which was a battle in itself to get it built and placed on the mall in D.C. As you watched these performances go on, first of all, what did you all cover? What did you record?
I think we both kind of shared the streaming with the stomp dance demonstration and the hymnal singing demonstrations. I got to spend a whole day with the Creek Nation's Honor Guard, and they opened and closed every day with the flag ceremony. And you know what? One of them days I got to spend the whole day with them. We went to Arlington and got to see the changing of the guard ceremony, and my first visit, I never made it there. So this time, just to be able to go with a group of eight of our elders that, help with a veteran that passes, and just they're real instrumental in our tribe. So just getting to know that group of gentlemen, I mean, it was an honor. It was a good day for me. I really enjoyed it.
Sorry. One of the things that I covered obviously was all the live streams, and it was really cool to see the people not only from back home but all over like tuning in and seeing like, hey, that's my cousin, and it was really sweet. Another thing is getting to I talked to one of the school teachers who brought her class there as well as some of her classmates just to talk about what they learned and the importance of why we need to study Native Americans as people who live in America, obviously. And it was, she talked a lot about, it's important to understand other cultures because we're becoming more and more diverse as a nation. And so it's important not only to know about them, just to know about them, but know about them so we can live cohesively. And I thought she said that really well. Another thing is I interviewed Native Creek artist Star Hardridge, and we did a whole sit down with him, and he talked about where he came from artistically and his process and his live painting that he was doing there, and it was beautiful how he came to that. Did
either of you get much chance to interact with the visitors and the spectators who came?
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually one of the people I talked to was one of just the local people from Virginia, and this was the first time he'd ever heard of Creek Indians, and he brought his wife and his child, and he participated in his first stomp dance, and he was so excited. Like I had to interview him once I saw him out there just boogieing it up, and he was talking again about the importance of learning about different cultures, and especially the Native Americans who history likes to try to erase.
I think. I got to meet this one gentleman. He's actually one of the at-large citizens. The Creek Nation, they started an initiative. I don't know when exactly they started it, but for this trip, I don't know what his title is, liaison to at-large citizens. He checked the registry and sent out postcards, letting citizens in that area, in that general area, know that we were going to be spotlighted at the museum. So I got to meet one of these at-large citizens. He said he'd been living in the D.C. area for roughly 14 years, I believe it was, and he's from Coweta, and I think it was just really moving for him that day. He spent a lot of time just talking to everybody. I mean, I've seen him the whole day, and he was just like, it's a little piece of home coming to D.C. to visit him. And after talking to him, and you just felt how much he missed Oklahoma.
Well, the being in that city is essentially like being on another planet. And in your discussions with the local folks who came to watch, did you feel like we were disposing of stereotypes. I mean, when most people, Americans think of Native American people, and they think of the Plains tribes, the war bonnets and the dashing cavalry charges. And
I think that's one of the things that the kids like. One of the gentlemen that came with us does like makes bows and blow dart guns or blow guns. And I was in there with him for a while, and I just saw just a constant stream of children coming in, and that was one of their biggest questions was, do you guys still wear feathers? Just everything that they see on TV. I mean, it's that stereotypical television native that walks around in buckskin loincloths and has a bow and arrow strapped to his back and rides a horse, and I mean, unfortunately that's still how we're looked at. I mean, to a lot of people that aren't exposed to Native culture. So,
I think the impression is that, as you mentioned, we're all wearing feathers and wearing buckskins, and you see movies like Apaches in the Desert or something like that, where Hollywood has them in buckskins. I'm saying, not on your life. You know how hot them suckers are. You get out in the desert sun like that, you sweat your backside off.
I only break mine out for special occasions. So.
Now, you had a real opportunity to educate a lot of people with being there and talking with them. What was the most asked question from the visitors? Do you recall?
I think for me, it was around the time, with the stomp dance demonstrations every day. I'd always, I would talk to some of the visitors, and I think their biggest thing was just, what it represented.
Right.
Why did they do this, and is it still practiced? And again, unfortunately, a lot of people think that the culture is gone, and this is just I don't think a lot of people know that it's still being practiced. It's
colorful remnant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got a lot of those same questions. A lot of people ask why? Why are they stomping around in a circle? What's the significance of it? What are some of the challenges that modern, Native people face? And, it's really hard to answer that question, on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
That's so nuanced. But I think that's, what Kevin said was the stomp dance. That was the biggest questions that we got.
No, you have a real opportunity to make stuff up, by the way. And, they're doing honor to the universe and blah, and get real cosmic. About it, kind of thing. And, they'd eat it up. Oh, yeah. That's right, yeah. Now, the Museum of the American Indian is set up to represent as many tribes as possible. And I think they do an incredible job, the best job that's ever been done. And you get to see a lot of things that just wouldn't be around or wouldn't have a focus, or they might be a small section of another museum. Now, when you walked around the museum, all of its facilities, and there's a wonderful cafeteria there, I understand. What did you all think of it?
You know what? I did. I got to visit it. I believe that they opened their doors in 2004, 2005. I visited in around 2007, I believe it was, and I got to visit it. And their fourth floor at the time, it wasn't open. Like you said, it was a really long, drawn out process just getting that thing made. And back then they didn't have their fourth floor open. This visit, I actually did get to go up there. I looked around, and you know what? It's amazing. And one of the things that made the biggest impression on me was up on their fourth floor, and I believe it was the East Wing. There's a hall of treaties, and there are 8 treaties in there that I guess they selected these particular 8 treaties because they're pretty much encapsulated all the different treaties that were signed between the United States and all the various tribes throughout the country. But the first one that you come across it's called the Treaty of New York, but it's the treaty made with the United States government and the Mvskoke Nation when they were still in the southeast, the southeast states. And it's one of those things where you just, again, like me getting to know my tribe again as an adult, I mean, that made a really big impact on me, because it just shows how big of a influence and how long we've been dealing with the country. I mean, with the United States government.
Before it was a country.
Before it was a country, you know, and it was just, like I said, that probably made the biggest impact on me, seeing that treaty.
For me, I didn't get to look at everything in the museum just because we were a little busy, but one thing I really liked is that I didn't know a lot about some of like the tribes in like South America and like, or not, you know, that part of the world, and some of the other tribes that aren't around here, that aren't of the 5 civilized tribes, because, you know, I see that almost, you know, I grew up with that stuff. So it was really fascinating to see how these people managed to just keep going and use the resources available and learn about cultures that some of them I'd never even heard of before.
Mm-hmm. That was always my impression too, and I have a deeper respect for our kinfolk down in Central and South America now, because I've seen some of the things. And, you know, you have to remind the world that, hey, you know, before those guys got lost on that ship and came over here, there were already huge cities and populations and trading routes and
exactly,
you know, and of course wars and conflicts and things, but there was a civilization here already.
Right, and seeing like the clothing that they made and the materials that they made it out of, and like what they found valuable, and how different it is from, you know, the Mvskoke people or like, you know, the colonial people. It was really cool. Yeah.
Each culture is developed from its own environment and what's important to it. Like for our people, it was, you know, agriculture and the establishment of central populations, like cities. And for our kinfolk out in the deserts, the Hopis and Navajos, they're desert people, so they value water and corn and things that grow and how to deal with that. And then, of course, folks up north, you know, built a culture around buffalo, you know, moving around. So it's interesting to see those differences all in one place. Now, the experience in being in D.C. offers you a chance to see a lot of different things and be exposed to some wonderful things, like being with the veterans and going to those memorials and seeing how they reacted and things like that. But I understand both of you had a chance to tour the Holocaust Museum, which wasn't too far away, right? And I've always felt there were some interesting parallels there between their peoples and ours.
Oh, absolutely. You know, my last name is Luxinger, and so that means I'm obviously German on my dad's side. And so I've always been really interested in that because it was such a harrowing time for, I mean, all of that part of Europe and the whole world. And so I really wanted to make a mission to go see that. And walking through, before anyone pointed it out, I automatically saw the parallels between the forced removal of the Jewish people and everyone else that they removed, and the forced removal of the Native Americans, all of the like false science and false teachings that they try to spread to, like, you know, get their message across of hate. And also, I think Kevin told me, or I saw it somewhere, that Adolf actually used a lot of Andrew Jackson's techniques or whatever to implement his thing. And so seeing those parallels, and it made me feel way more connected to the struggles. You know, it made it much more my face.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it does. It like those parallels, I mean, they're just uncanny. Like you see how, again, Hitler, he used techniques to dehumanize in the population's eyes, the Jewish people. And again, the Jews, they're a tribal people as well. You know, like, I mean, that's probably the most obvious parallel, but the way that he used propaganda and media to just, again, just dehumanize these people. I mean, you see that if you go back 100 years before that, you see the United States doing the same thing with all the native tribes, you know, just making us less than human. And in the population's eyes, if you're less than human, it's easier to take your stuff. You know, it's easier to justify, you know, putting the pressure on you, putting the arm on you. You know, and that was one of the best museums I've ever gone through. And it was, I mean, you go from being teary-eyed to being angry, back to being teary-eyed. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride of sadness and anger. I mean, because you see it could easily happen again, you know.
And also seeing afterwards and even during the resilience of the Jewish people and all the other communities affected, and seeing the parallel between the resilience of the Native Americans who were removed, that was really inspiring. And it was, I think it really was a testament to like human resilience in general. Like no matter how often we're going to get knocked down as an oppressed people, we're going to stand back up and keep going.
That's well put. Now, the city of Washington is impressive from one end of it to the other. It's all this white marble and these monuments and historic things going on, and such important things going on in today's current events. You know, like right up the hill there in that big white dome is where they're talking about tax cuts for us right now. Right across the mall there in that White House is where the man who can start World War III is sitting there and, you know, contemplating what he's going to do. So, you know, you bounce around a lot. Yeah, I think you use the term roller coaster. I think it's a good way to describe it. Now, on the more positive end of it, it is kind of exciting to be there. Now, were there points where you two had a real enjoyable sense of being there, or something you saw, or someone you met, or something there?
You know what? I think it was like just the collective meeting of all these different people, because I'm kind of a talky person anyway. So I got a chance to meet a lot of people from all over the world, you know, and it was I think probably the best memory I have is you know, me and my wife got to go with me. So one late evening, me and my wife just took a walk through the mall. I was taking pictures of, you know, just doing some night photography, and that's a beautiful city. I mean, just architecturally, I mean, it's an amazing thing to see. And I think everybody, you know, regardless of your political affiliation or what you think of what comes out of that city and what that city produces, you should see it. You know, like I said, I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, it's the modern day Rome. I mean, I was looking at, like, in Rome's height, you know, it was only like 1.5 million. DC has over 6 million people in that metro area. I mean, the metro area encapsulates a couple of other cities outside, outlying cities, but I mean, it's 6 times larger population-wise than when Rome was at its height. You know, so that should tell you that it is. I think everybody, as a citizen of the nation, you know, they should go up there and just take a look at it. I mean, it makes an impression on you.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I really enjoyed was getting to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, whether it be the guy eating his lunch next to me or the cab driver explaining the beauty of Islam or whatever. Another thing that I really enjoyed just personally, because I'm, again, a huge nerd, was the Library of Congress. I didn't get to spend as much time as I wanted in there, but when I saw the reading room, I understood what Belle from Beauty and the Beast felt when she walked into the Beast's castle, into the library. I wanted to sit there and read all of the books, and even if I could just touch them and smell them, like that was really exciting for me.
Oh, yours truly is actually included on their shelf, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, a little personal thing there.
Humble brag?
Yeah, humble. It's that NPR series that recorded me some time back, but that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. The city of Washington can be kind of a scary place at the same time. You know, you have to be careful, you know, personal safety and things like that. Did either of you ever feel any of that? Did it come across?
You know what? Me personally, I never did. I mean, it's a friendly city. I had nothing. 4.5 stars. I give it 4.5 stars.
I did a little bit. I'm very small in stature, and, you know, I come from the sticks, Oklahoma, so it was a little scary. It took me a couple days to get my sea legs to get, you know, brave enough to start leaving. But once I did, I realized it wasn't as scary as my brain had told me it was going to be. You know, pretty much everyone I came in contact to, minus the lady who worked at the Walgreens, or the CVS or whatever it was really, really kind and really, really ready to talk about their story, and, you know, it was really nice.
Yeah, I think I've met that lady a couple of times when I was living there.
We've all met them.
Yes, we all. It doesn't matter where the place is. Fun times in D.C. are immeasurable. And of course, even if you stay at the mall, there's all of this, there's a dozen museums to look at, and you can actually have quite a lot of fun there. Now, was there something that kind of fell into that category? And oh, by the way, how did your feet hold up? I mean, did you do a lot of walking? Anybody come back with any blisters there?
You know what it is? It's a hike. No matter where you go, it's a
definitely.
hike. So yeah, I came back and it took me about a day or so before my legs kind of got feeling normal again.
Oh, me too. I'm not used to walking anywhere. I mean, I live in Tulsa it's not exactly pedestrian friendly everywhere, so I'm used to driving everywhere. So my legs were really tired.
Yeah, I grew up in Tulsa. It's not pedestrian friendly anywhere. Maybe downtown. But
Yeah.
they're changing that. So you got to hike around a little bit and see some of the other
Yeah.
sites, so to speak. Well, now if there was a final thought or impression or image that you two wanted to share of your trip, of being in the city, being with our tribe, what might that be? Kevin?
I think, like I said before, everybody should, if they have the chance to see it, go. That city just affects the world in such a massive on such a massive scale that you have to see it. I mean, walking into that town, you just you feel that influence emanating from everywhere. I mean, it leads other countries. I mean, that's the city where that other countries fall suit and fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you ever have a chance, go.
Definitely.
I would have to say, seeing the people learn about the culture was probably the most memorable part. I remember as a little kid, I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and me and my dad were walking around Okmulgee, and we stopped at the council house because there was a bunch of commotion going on, and that's where I saw my first stomp dance, and I saw my first stickball game, and I remember as a little kid being so whoa, this is amazing, and then being able to see the look on those kids' faces when they're learning the same thing. It was kind of, I was like, I remember being like that, and it helped me not take the culture for granted anymore.
Made you a little kid again?
Yeah, it really did.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we want to thank you for coming down and sharing those experiences. It's kind of wonderful to have a new perspective on a place I used to live. And now, if I could recruit you two to help me deal with some community announcements, let's jump into the middle of that. First of all, here is Celebrating Resiliency, Addressing Sexual Assault Through Community Healing. That event is coming up Friday, December 1st, and it's part of the program put on by the, where am I here? Oh, okay. Sexual Assault Violence folks. It's 9 a.m. to 1:30 at the College of the Mvskoke Nation, Student Center 107.
All right, and we also have the Christmas market coming up at the Mvskoke Dome on Friday, December 1st from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., and they'll be selling handmade holiday items inspired by Native American artists.
And also at the Mvskoke Dome, the Mvskoke Nation Youth Council, they're hosting a Christmas gift bingo. The doors open this is Saturday, December 16th. Bingo packs start at $10, and doors open at 1. Bingo starts at 2.
Okay, Sahara's Smiles, bringing smiles to Okmulgee's children one mitten at a time. Now, the event is December 8th at 3 p.m., and they're looking for your help in keeping children warm this winter. They want gloves, beanies, scarves, and even coats if possible. They thank you for your help. Call Donna Cook, 918-618-3776.
We also have the lighting of the Christmas tree at the historic and beautiful Mvskoke Creek Nation Council House on December 4th at 6 p.m. There'll be hymn singing, cookies, and hot chocolate.
There's a fundraiser for the Forest Creek Baptist Church. It's going to be held at the Okmulgee Indian Community. It's a bean luncheon on December 1st. There's going to be fry bread, biscuits, beans, fried potatoes. For more information, call Georgianne DeLune at 918-758-8105.
I think that's kin to Darren, isn't it?
I believe so. I think that's his mom.
Yeah. Okay, and if you're still looking around for Christmas gifts, if you don't find them at the December 1st market, there's always some really fine T-shirts being sold by Mvskoke Media, so check those out. Okay, that's everything we got to do. We have, about a minute or so left. Final thoughts, folks, before we get out of here?
I just want to let you know, Gary, every time I've done your show, you always say this is my first time. This is actually my fourth time being on.
Yeah. First time I really put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Devaney?
I just wanted to say that I'm not big on actually traveling. It makes me quite nervous, but I was really, really thankful for this opportunity to, get some new experiences.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. And as I say, we're glad you all came down and gave us your perspectives on things. That's a nice break from what we usually do. And it sounded a lot of fun. Well, I want to say Mado Mabo Hedjitscut. This is Gary Fife, Jaho Jifkidos, Mado. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Mado.